Most people believe that if a marriage survives long enough, it becomes easier. That is not always true. Time does not automatically strengthen a relationship. In many cases, it simply reveals what was already there. After 60, marriage changes in ways no one explains when you are young. The noise fades, the distractions reduce, the roles that once defined the relationship begin to disappear. Careers slow down. Children leave, social circles shrink. What remains is not the life you built together, but the connection you actually have. And that is where the truth becomes clear. For years, many couples live side by side, focused on responsibilities. They raise children, they solve problems, they manage finances, they stay busy. That busyness creates the illusion of closeness. But activity is not the same as connection. Or when those responsibilities fade, couples are left with each other without the structure that once held them together. Some discover companionship, others discover distance. That difference does not appear suddenly at 60. It was developing quietly for decades. There are marriages where conversation becomes natural again. Without constant pressure, couples rediscover each other. They sit together without urgency. They talk without interruption. They share silence without discomfort. These relationships feel lighter. Then there are marriages where silence feels heavy. Conversations become limited to routine topics. Questions feel forced. Time together feels long rather than meaningful. These relationships feel strained. The difference is not time. It is attention. Throughout life, attention is often directed outward. Toward work, children, responsibilities, and expectations. Very little attention is directed inward toward understanding each other. After 60, there is no distraction left to hide that gap. One of the truths about marriage at this stage is that emotional habits become permanent. If you spent years avoiding difficult conversations, you will find it harder to begin them now. If you spent years prioritizing efficiency over understanding, that pattern remains. If you built your relationship on routine instead of emotional presence, routine alone will not sustain it. Time does not correct patterns. It reinforces them. Another truth is that expectations shift. In earlier years, marriage often revolves around building a life. There are goals, there are pressures, there is a sense of forward motion. After 60, the focus shifts from building to living. That transition is not easy. Many people do not know how to simply exist together without a shared project. They are used to solving, planning, and achieving. When those elements reduce, they feel uncertain. What replaces activity must be connection, and connection requires effort. There is a common assumption that long-term partners should understand each other without explanation. That assumption becomes dangerous over time. People change, interests evolve, values shift, priorities adjust. The person you married decades ago is not the exact same person sitting across from you now. If you do not remain curious about each other, you slowly become unfamiliar. Unfamiliarity creates distance, even in long marriages. Another truth that emerges after 60 is the awareness of time. Earlier in life, disagreements can be prolonged because time feels abundant. You assume there will always be another opportunity to resolve tension. You assume silence can continue without consequence. Later in life, time feels different. Every year becomes more visible. Every moment carries more weight. The cost of unresolved conflict becomes clearer. This awareness changes perspective. Small arguments begin to feel less important. Pride begins to feel less valuable. The desire for peace becomes stronger than the desire to be right. However, this shift only helps if both people are willing to adjust. If one person seeks connection while the other remains distant, the imbalance becomes more noticeable. There is also a physical reality that cannot be ignored. Energy changes. Health concerns appear. Independence may decrease. These changes affect how couples interact. Roles shift. One partner may need more support. The other may feel pressure. Support is not only physical, it is emotional. If emotional connection is weak, these transitions feel heavy. If emotional connection is strong, they feel manageable. Marriage after 60 is not about romance in the way people imagine it when they are young. It is about companionship, patience, and understanding. It is about how two people navigate time together when distractions are gone. The most important question at this stage is simple. Do you still choose each other, or are you simply remaining because you always have? There is a difference. In the next part, I will explain what keeps a marriage strong after 60, and why some relationships grow deeper while others slowly fade despite decades together. And what keeps a marriage strong after 60 is not history, it is choice. Many people believe that the number of years spent together guarantees depth. It does not. Time creates familiarity, but familiarity is not the same as closeness. Closeness must be maintained. At this stage of life, the habits you practiced earlier become visible in their full form. If you learned how to listen, you will listen more deeply. If you learned how to avoid, you will avoid more consistently. If you learned how to connect, you will connect with greater ease. Nothing new is created suddenly after 60. What exists becomes clearer. One of the most important factors in a strong marriage at this stage is intentional communication. Not functional communication, not conversations about schedules, tasks, or responsibilities. Those are necessary, but they do not build connection. Intentional communication means speaking to understand, not to resolve. It means asking questions without preparing a response. It means listening without interruption. It means allowing the other person to express thoughts without correcting or dismissing them. Many couples stop doing this over time. They assume they already know each other. They predict responses. They complete sentences. They reduce conversations to efficiency. Efficiency weakens intimacy. When you already believe you know what your partner will say, you stop discovering who they are becoming. Discovery keeps relationships alive. Another factor is emotional availability. After 60, emotional presence matters more than physical activity. You may not travel as often. You may not engage in as many external experiences, but you still have the ability to be present with each other. Presence means attention. It means putting aside distractions, even small ones. It means noticing changes in mood. It means recognizing when silence carries meaning instead of assuming everything is fine. Emotional availability requires effort. It requires patience. It requires the willingness to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. Many relationships weaken because one or both people become emotionally distant, not intentionally, but gradually. Distance grows when attention decreases. Another essential element is respect. Not the kind of respect that is based on roles or achievements. That type fades with time. Careers end, responsibilities shift. External identity becomes less relevant. What remains is personal respect. Respect for how your partner thinks. Respect for their feelings. Respect for their individuality. After decades together, it is easy to become casual with respect, to interrupt more, to dismiss more quickly, to assume instead of asking. Small signs of disrespect accumulate. They do not destroy a relationship immediately, but they weaken its foundation over time. Respect maintains dignity. Dignity maintains connection. There is also the need for flexibility. After 60, life rarely follows a predictable pattern. Health changes, energy levels fluctuate, plans are adjusted, roles within the relationship may shift. One partner may become more dependent. The other may take on more responsibility. If the relationship is rigid, these changes create tension. If the relationship is flexible, they create opportunities for care. Flexibility requires letting go of expectations. Yet many people carry expectations from earlier years into later life. They expect the same routines, the same behaviors, the same energy. When reality changes, they resist. Resistance creates frustration. Acceptance creates peace. This does not mean lowering standards. It means adapting to reality instead of holding on to what no longer exists. Another important factor is shared presence, not shared space. Shared presence. Two people can sit in the same room and feel completely disconnected, or they can sit quietly together and feel deeply connected. The difference is attention. Shared presence means experiencing moments together without distraction. It means being aware of each other, even in silence. Silence is not empty when connection exists. It becomes a form of communication. Many couples underestimate the value of quiet time together. They fill silence with television, devices, or routine activity. Over time, they lose the ability to simply be together. That ability matters more as life slows down. There is also the reality of unresolved issues. After 60, unresolved conflicts do not disappear. They become heavier. Issues that were ignored earlier resurface with greater intensity. Old patterns repeat. Old misunderstandings remain. The difference is that time feels more limited. There is less patience for unresolved tension. There is less willingness to carry emotional weight unnecessarily. This creates a choice. Either address what has been avoided or accept the distance it creates. Strong marriages choose to address it, not perfectly, not dramatically, but honestly. Honesty does not require perfection, it requires willingness. Another truth is that companionship becomes central. Earlier in life, attraction and ambition often dominate the relationship. Later, companionship becomes the foundation. Companionship is built on comfort, trust, and mutual understanding. It is the ability to sit together without pressure, to share thoughts without fear, to support each other without obligation. This type of connection is quiet, but it is powerful. It does not rely on excitement. It relies on consistency. Finally, there is one question that defines the strength of a marriage after 60. Do you still invest in each other? Not financially, not practically, emotionally. Do you still ask questions? Do you still listen carefully? Do you still notice small changes? Do you still choose presence over distraction? These actions seem small, but they determine whether a relationship grows or fades. Marriage after 60 is not about surviving together. It is about remaining connected when survival is no longer the focus. It is about choosing each other without external pressure. Time does not strengthen a relationship by itself. Attention does. If you continue to invest attention, the relationship deepens. If you withdraw attention, the relationship slowly becomes distant. The truth about marriage after 60 is simple. You do not stay close because you have been together for years. You stay close because you continue to show up every day in small ways. That is what keeps a marriage alive long after everything else has changed.